Now, with luck, you'll be seeing this video via YouTube. Oh yeah, video on the net, it's the next big thing.
Doing it again. Unbelievable. Never say never again, Sean Connery. Hi, Ed here. And I owe you an explanation. It's been 3 years and 3 lifetimes since I retired. The world changed and I changed. When I decided to retire in 2019, I felt I'd taught all I could. There are others with teams and courses doing a better job than I ever could. The writing was on the wall for me, particularly for an undisciplined introvert like myself. I just couldn't follow my own formula. Good old market leadership equals content times consistency squared. I'd run out of the former and I was stuffed on the ladder. I didn't want to become a 75-year-old still hustling from the stage. By the way, apologies ahead for 75-year-olds. It's hard to call a top, but honestly, I was done. If you're thinking, what's the point of this? And boy, has Ed turned into a Debbie Downer? Hey, stick with me. The juice is worth the squeeze. Now, my last consulting call was on the 21st of March, 2020. My last YouTube video to you was on the day before. My retirement was meant to start with a trip to Japan on the 23rd of March, 2020, the day the world shut down. Sorry about that. I am amazed at how things happened. Me causing the global pandemic was not on my retirement bingo card. You can see my humility has remained intact during the past 3 years. In case you were wondering, retiring in the sense of not doing anything and reading books is pretty much a bullshit concept. Oops, I sweary, sorry. The stats tell us that if you retire with no plans or hobbies in mind, the earth decides you're not putting in and politely asks you to step off in roughly 3 years. You'll also note my fact-checking, attribution, and manner of speaking is also kept intact in the last 3 years. Although, hey, I have added a link to the study I was referring to in the description below. I'm growing. In truth, me saying I was retiring, though, was a stretch. I decided to test my mettle against the best copywriters in the world at Legacy Research. And I was also helping Justin and Shauna Brooke grow ad skills. And I had a great time, and I'd like to think both very successful stints. I've got to say, Legacy Research was humbling. My first lead review, I was destroyed, and deservedly so. But by the end, I was beating controls with the best of them. And with Justin and Shauna, they really taught me about caring for people and your team. They have an extraordinary community of the best online ad buyers. I also had the opportunity to coach with Marisa Murgatroyd's team at Momentum and EPM. Marisa's drive and commitment is phenomenal. She is a powerhouse, and her commitment to quality was a real learning experience. But the absolute best thing to happen to me was taking up an offer to work with Taki Moore and the $1 Million Coaching team. Hey, suffice to say, that's where I am now. That's my day job. Bit more on this later. So, while the pandemic was raging, I was busy, probably working harder than I ever have. I suspect you guys were too. I had thought I would like to do something like restarting the channel and creating a report. Then in October of 2022, nothing short of a miracle occurred. But first, here's what I observed about the pandemic and led me to shoot this video to you today and to start the channel up again. You know, the pandemic took trends that were bubbling along and accelerated them. Work from home, which I and many of you had been doing for a decade, became mainstream. Everybody can Zoom now. Now, make no mistake, if you're in the restaurant industry, you were, developing new equipment, shipping goods on Kickstarter, you're in travel, the pandemic was devastating for a lot of people. For information marketers and coaches, after the initial panic subsided, turns out the pandemic was easy mode. So why did I call the pandemic easy mode for information marketers and coaches? Glad you asked. In the early days of the pandemic, I was on many Zoom meetings with the who's who of the industry. It was scary times. But then the sales record started getting broken. Every single launch, and now hastily converted to online conference, was absolutely crushing. With the benefit of hindsight, when people couldn't travel, they couldn't spend money eating out, they were not commuting for a couple of hours each day, they realised that they needed to do something, and a lot of people chose to improve themselves. Hence, a 2-year boom in information marketing, coaching, and education services happened. Advertising was easy because the big brands pulled their dumb money out of the way and the leads became way cheaper. Then, of course, the world started opening up, a bit early in some places, but hey. And by July 22, people were travelling pretty freely again, and the pendulum has swung completely the other way. Festivals, travels, airlines are full. Have you seen the price of airfares? Corporations who have kept prices steady have raised them through the roof. I mean, are you serious? The dumb money advertising was back in force, and the whole black box targeting by social networks, removing a lot of the data and targeting that we'd all been using, had really started to bite. They're biting now. So after 2 years of easy mode, marketing's sort of getting back to normal. But normal for a lot of people may have been a lot harder than they've ever experienced, because a lot of people started businesses and all they'd experienced was easy mode. Now, let's talk the miracle. Hey, gang, kids, turns out drugs are good. So this is what I've been alluding to all through this so far. I was in Florida and had the privilege of staying with good old Dean Jackson, friend of the challenge, at the Valhalla Fairmont. And a week earlier, he'd sent a video to Taki Moore, and Taki sent this video straight to me. That video changed my life forever. Have you ever watched or read something and it's so impactful, so powerful, it feels like you've been punched in the gut? For me, it's happened a few times. When I watched Star Wars for the first time in Colac in January of '78, when my father finally let me go to see it. When I saw the Mac at the 1984 trade fair at the Farmers and Graziers building in Albury. When I read the Time magazine article, July 24, 1994, I'll never forget. I was on the way to playing golf with my mate Justin in the Mornington Peninsula, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is huge. When I read The War of Art in 2009 during the challenge that year at the Intercontinental in Tokyo, and when I threw my Kindle literally across the room and left it sitting there for 2 weeks after I read the red wedding scene in Game of Thrones. The release of the iPad was another one. Each of these were profound moments for me, and they had massive impact. But the video Dean and Taki shared with me is without doubt the most life-changing 10 minutes I've ever experienced. Now, the video, I'll put a little bit of it cut in here. It's in the links to the show notes below. It described me to a T. Being a teenager in the drugs are bad 80s, and also thinking ADHD was something that caused people to be peeling themselves off the ceiling, I never even considered this could be an issue for me. Over the years, I've had therapists. I was treated for depression quite successfully, I'd like to think, after my bankruptcy. Not one of them even uttered ADHD under their breath. The moment I got back to Australia, I began the long and, as it turns out, expensive journey to see if this was an issue. Look, I knew in my bones it was. And I've got to say, I'm thankful for the length of the process in Australia. Friends in the US, who we all know and love, had their doctors prescribe them ADHD medicine for focus, and funnily enough, didn't do much for them. But on January 9, 2023, I had 20 milligrams of Vyvanse, and within 4 hours, I knew my life would change forever. I could fill a number of these videos with all the changes ADHD treatment has made. For example, when I wrote this script, right? It was at 6:44 p.m. Since January 9, I'm down 12 kilos, 15 centimeters on my waist, and I'm not doing anything different. It's not slowing down. Long-time followers will know that my first vomit drafts, 25-minute sprints, I do those in about 675 words. And it was consistent. The first day I wrote my vomit draft, same time, I did 960 words. My typing speed hadn't changed. That's the tip of the iceberg. If you've been disorganized, forgetful, creative, but forgetting important things, watch that video. If it's for you, you'll know. Since then, I've been able to write every single day without fail. It's like Rock Lee in Naruto when he dropped his leg weights. Oh, yes, I've developed a happy midlife crisis in retirement, watching anime and reading manga while I've been away. You know, these are the things. Now, the funny thing is, I almost kicked this off a year ago. And let me tell you, this report would have been a very different thing 12 months ago. A year is an eternity these days. As you all know, I live in Melbourne, which earned the title of the most locked-down city during the pandemic. Now, apart from throwing a spanner in my retirement plans, I was built for lockdown, baby. But in the end, even I was going a bit stir-crazy. Well, more than usual. So, this time last year, my view of things had become very narrow for some very specific reasons. So, January 2 years ago, I read Ray Dalio and The Rise and Fall of Empires. He released this book, and its conclusions, or to be fair, the unwritten, heavily alluded to conclusion, was that the USA was in the last stages of empire and China is very much in the ascendancy. This could well be true. But being locked up and seeing the world through a lens of the iPhone screen and not on the ground, as you know, I'd be in America 3, 4, 5 times a year, I was thinking my newsletter and this channel would be more internet marketing meets the Great Depression with some prepper seasoning. Now, you guys know this is not normally me, viewer here on YouTube. This is where I was. There was also something happening which really rocked me to my core. It had me second-guessing my judgment. Had I lost my famous, in my own lunchbox, ability to pick major trends? Had I turned into the equivalent of an old man yelling, "Get off my lawn"? Enter crypto and Web3. It seemed like my tech spider sense seemed to have died of COVID while I was in lockdown. Look, Bitcoin, totally get. If everyone agrees it's a limited store of value, then it is. It makes as much sense as gold and money from that point of view. Makes sense. I wondered about its utility beyond that. I get that if you can have a safe transaction between two parties instead of requiring a third party, that's good too. That's the promise of blockchain. But, Web 3.0, DeFi, NFT, DAOs, I didn't really get. Well, I got it as a technology, but my spider sense was flatlining. I got nothing. You know me. I get excited when I see cool tech stuff. For the life of me, I just couldn't get how this stuff changed anything. Like, I tried. I really tried. I mean, the NFT thing was clearly a tulip mania for people locked up in the pandemic with nothing to do with their cash. That's fine. And some people did really well out of it. A lot of people didn't. But here's the thing. Digital goods is a thing. And being able to prove ownership is really a thing and going to become really important. Good friend of the 30-day challenge, Trey Smith, cousin Trey, is what he's doing in his MEX project. I could see that was amazing. There's value creation there. It's going to be a game. You can do something with your NFT. I'm sure it'll be a thing, and blockchain may well be the tech answer to the issue of proving ownership. I love the idea of DAOs, digital autonomous organizations. I like the idea of an organization getting the rules right up front and then taking human nature out of the process by having a smart contract run and distribute things. I love the idea of a community being able to collectively participate in the value they created as opposed to a single entity. Chris Dixon from A16Z, he had the most compelling definition of Web 3.0 as compared to Web 2.0, and it definitely appealed to my meta-modernist principles. In Web 2.0, the creators created all the value of the network, and the network owners reaped the super profits. The creators, some did really well, but they got crumbs compared to what was being made. This didn't happen if you happen to follow a certain crazy Australian who told you to build your own business in a niche you love, but I digress. The theory of Web3 is the creators reap the true value of their contribution. I love this concept. It appeals to me to my very core. The theory was incredibly appealing. But why could I not bring myself to be part of this utopia? I actually even started to create a product as part of an EPM product demonstration, but I could not get over two laws central to the way I do things, and in one case, governs the laws of the universe. Or this universe. It appears I haven't lost any hubris while I was away either. Let's spend a moment on this, and hopefully it'll give you a framework for you to use when evaluating opportunities. So this is all about me being back, but hopefully you get some value. Paul Zane Pilzer wrote a book in the early 80s, which has been fundamental to the way I evaluate things. It was called The Alchemy of Economics. And the law from that book, which has served me so well, is this one. For a technology to be successful, it must be as easy or easier to use than the technology it replaces. Okay? Everything in Web3 broke this law. Everything's harder. Bitcoin is way harder for the civilian than money. Managing wallets is terrifying. NFTs are so hard to transact and manage. DAOs are not simple to organise. But Ed, I hear you say, all of these are problems that'll be solved. I got this, and it was this thought that kept me in the game. I was still questioning, and I'm telling you, I was concerned I was the old man telling the kids to get off my lawn. With the benefit of time and hindsight, there was one thing which was missing, which was so obvious. I've spent many hours metaphorically slapping myself, and I have to thank Web 3.0 for driving this into my brain for the rest of my, and hopefully your, life. Where's the demo? Not once did I see a good demo. Something that made me go, wow, this is exciting. Not once. When I saw the iPhone, perhaps the greatest demo of all time, it was clear. When I saw the newsstand on iPad, I knew immediately there was an opportunity. When I put on VR glasses and toured Petra virtually, that was a wow moment. And of course, playing with DALL-E was a freak out. And the first evening when ChatGPT was released was bananas. And I was, let's move on. The demos were amazing. Mind-blowing. The initial opportunity was clear, the possibilities endless. ChatGPT was an amazing demo for anybody, for your grandmother, for anyone. Yet, show me one Web 3.0 demo that made me go, wow, I can't tell you how pissed I am not for picking this up. And dear watcher, that won't happen again. Probably will actually, but it sounds super cool when I say it with such certainty. So here we are today. Why am I starting all this up again? Well, you need your internet daddy more than ever. What, that doesn't sound good? Okay. Look, I think I can help you. I'm an optimist, and while there is a bunch of stuff that is scary about AI, the opportunity's there for those who focus on their niche rather than try to bandwagon jump onto AI. And listen to this, everybody, closely. Bandwagon jumping on AI is like a cowboy trying to leap on the Shinkansen, the Japanese bullet train, at top speed. It's not going to end well. I'm at the point where I've seen some things. You start to see patterns repeating. And I think the team and I can be your thinking partner on your virtual board of directors, letting you know what to focus on and what to avoid. Our starting point's this. If you create transformations for your clients and customers, you'll have a great business. My great passion and the team's great passion is online business. And this is the time to start. This is the time to optimize. This is the time to go on offense. This is the time to be smart. And we want to help. We will help. When I outlined this this document, this script, I'm doing a script. You can tell how much things have changed. This section was called AI has its own iPhone moment. I've changed my mind, right? This is a sea change event. This is a disruption that unless you've lived in a war zone, you have not faced. Anyone my age has not seen anything like this. It's a revolution scale event. And let me be clear, for subscribers to this channel, by the way, kids, don't forget to like and subscribe to this report. It's going to be awesome. We've not seen anything like it, and that's why I'm back. This will be an astounding ride, and I would not miss this for anything. So what's it mean? There's going to be a lot more average. The production of average content is going to go through the roof. Viewers of this channel will have the advantage of having intimate knowledge of your market and its unique language. This is an advantage which we will hone in this channel and will allow you to tame the output of AI and put you at the top of your field. Amateurs won't be able to tell if the AI is hallucinating. Pros can pick it up in an instant and adjust. It's an amazing brainstorm partner. I saw a great tweet at the start of the year. My New Year's resolution is to have the same level of confidence that ChatGPT has in its answers. The next few years will see a flight to quality in your niche, and this should excite you. With our help here on this channel, you'll become a true student of your niche. Because your aim in your niche should be simple: deliver transformation. You are offering a transformation. Transformation. Fancy pants word for you, Ed. Yes, and for many, many reasons, I stick by it, particularly in this AI world. The reason we humans are pretty darn amazing is we can make leaps in our thinking. The main way we and everything else in this universe changes is through evolution. Lots of repetitions over a long time. Think the Colorado River and the Grand Canyon. Our own biology and that of all living things evolves over time. You get the picture. Then we come along, and at some point we've developed the ability to make leaps. What happens if we use this rock to skin this animal? What if we sharpen that rock to make it easier? What if we use fire to keep ourselves warm? What if we use the skins of the animals we caught? These are leaps, not evolutions. When you stop and think about it, it's pretty bloody amazing. Okay, yeah, Ed, it's amazing. How does it help me? I am glad you asked. AI, as it stands, and for a few years, question mark, grows in evolutions. It can run those evolutions incredibly, mind-blowingly quickly, but as for now, it can't make leaps. You, my dear watcher of this channel, can. And this is what we're going to develop in you through here in this channel. This is your advantage. On the path to providing transformations for your market and creating a business which you and your market love, you can make leaps. What if we use the Hello Kitty dental tool as an ear cleaner? With a little creative leap, that Hello Kitty dental floss tool could become an AirPod cleaning tool or a sex toy. Most leaps don't work, but you can make them. And that, dear viewer, is how you're going to prosper in this new world. And this report is going to guide you in this process. You've heard this before from me, but boy, is it worth repeating. Gang, the tools change, the fundamentals don't. Never in my entire career have I seen an explosion in tools we can use to transform our business and bring transformation to people in our niche and their projects. It's mind-blowing, and unfortunately, I'm seeing a lot of entrepreneurs and coaches focus on the tools and forget the fundamentals. Forget to be market first. I see this channel's core job to remind you of the incredible awesomeness of the fundamentals, and then using these incredible tools to enhance you and your market and open up entire new products and services for you and your niche. It's exciting. There are too many tools out there. See what I did there? I giggled. First, potential channel subscriber, please subscribe. I need to declare, I am a hypocrite. I made my entire career on being the game changer dude. I was fortunate because of my weird tech marketing background. I was able to notice before others how hot new technologies were going to create extraordinary opportunities. I then helped people take advantage of this. Look at this ancient list and blasts from the past: pay-per-click, SEO, social media, YouTube, the iPhone, websites as real estate, the influencer formula and market leadership, Apple Newsstand, Facebook advertising. That list looks super boring. But when I was teaching people about them, they were radical. I was cool once. Really? Lol. Why am I saying we have too many tools? Both literally and metaphorically. I cannot tell you how much I'm amusing myself right now. Look at the list above. If you look at AI, in the last 20 days, there have been 3 tool releases that will have the impact of any of those. And you did see I put the iPhone on the list. One of the key reasons I retired was I could see back in 2019, the half-life of becoming an influencer was radically decreasing. I got years of time to develop products for each and bring them to market. The half-life of being an influencer now is about 4 weeks. That's about how long you've got before A, the thing you decided to be a market leader in is completely replaced and you give your followers whiplash by saying, oh, here's the cool new thing. B, someone with a bigger budget and team swoops in and takes over. C, you decide to become Broad, the AI queen. That's so totes adores. You need to subscribe to this channel badly. What I should have learned. Remember, the name of the game is transformation. That's what this channel's ultimately about. How can you bring about transformation in yourself, your team, and most importantly, your market? Looking back, I asked myself a key question. Which one of those blockbuster products, for their time, created the biggest transformation for you guys, my clients, my community? Which one of these still gets people stopping me in the street to this day? Every month or so, I get an email which makes my entire month. You win if you said none of them. So what was it? It was the 30-day challenge. Nothing I did created as many transformations as the challenge. Nothing helped as many people create a new life. I helped people start a radical type of business for the time, which had the promise of delivering flexibility and income replacement to get new jobs for what they were doing. It worked. And not only were many challengers' lives changed, transformed, they were able to bring extraordinary results to their markets, more transformations. This is why I'm doing this channel. Helping the market you love create transformations is the secret to thriving in this AI revolution. Instead of getting trapped on the impossible techno-influencer beat, we'll use this extraordinary technology to create even more transformations. It's the lesson. And that's what we're going to focus on here on the channel. I really stuffed our kids. I'm a 53-year-old white male, full of privilege, and a culture of not being vulnerable in any way. This is, as it turns out, stupid. So allow me a small step in this direction. We, and I specifically, really stuffed our kids. My family has been very affected by mental health issues. I'm very responsible for many of them. I haven't asked permission to share their stories, so I won't. But in working through these issues, two things have become very apparent. The first is there is a mental health crisis in kids, particularly girls, particularly those who were in the first generation of having a mobile phone as a teenager. And our millennials and Gen Z are the first generations materially worse off than the generation that came before it. That's us. This sucks. What are we doing in doing this channel? Look, I'm the least qualified person to tackle mental health issues per se, but I'm incredibly excited about what AI could do as an incredible answer to the societal problem. Mental health is one of the top 3 issues of our time, and I want this channel to keep a track of developments in the area. I've learned one thing over my 3.5 decades in this business. If your head's not right, the chances of you being able to start a business is near zero. Look at me, lol. Second, in this report, one thing which hasn't changed for me, and I still think is one of the best things that you can do for the future, is to create your own business. In particular, an online business serving a community you love. I'm hopeful that in a small way, younger readers will be exposed to this channel and be inspired to start a business in this AI revolution instead of be the victims and chum of Web 2.0, where they are working for peanuts in the grind of the influencer game. It kills me. And, of course, their mental health taking a continuous beating. All of this is to say, there's never been a better time to start a business. Never been a better time to deliver transformation in a niche you love and to make yourself better in the process. That's what this channel is all about, and I hope you give us a try.